In your last lesson, you learned how to create your first project and solution inside of Business Intelligence Development Studio, or BIDS for short. In this lesson, Lesson 5, we're going to explore the rest of BIDS. We'll do this by walking through the various sections of BIDS, running our first package, which does very little at all, and we'll also learn to go to when a problem occurs. So the Business Intelligence Development Studio first has a Solution Explorer. The Solution Explorer in the right pane has all of your packages inside of it. It also has other things inside of it as well. Any file that ends in a .dtsx extension will be put into the Packages folder. If it has a DS extension, it will be put in the Shared Data Source folder. A DSV will be considered a data source view and is put in that folder. And then lastly, solutions are solution files with the .sln extension, and DTPROJ is a SSIS project file. The Properties window is where you can set any property of any task or component in SSIS. This is contextual based on whatever you select. Now sometimes some of the advanced properties are available in this, and it gives you extended properties outside of what you have inside available in the UI. Other important tasks that you have available to you are the control flow. This is the workflow of your package. The data flow is where you go to configure the data flow task. And the progress and execution results is where you'll go to debug when a problem occurs. So let's go ahead and look at some of these tasks. Okay, so let me open up the BIDS environment. Now one of the things you can do inside of BIDS, I opened up the BIDS environment, and you can get to this through Start, Programs, SQL Server 2008, and Business Intelligence Development Studio. One of the things you can do is you can right-click on this shortcut and go to Properties. Inside of Properties, you can add the word -no splash. By adding that word, it will skip the splash screen startup and make your BIDS environment open up about 5 seconds faster in some cases. This also works from Management Studio as well. Once opened, notice a few things. Right now, I'm dropped into the control flow. This is the package that I created in the previous lesson. So it created a package.dtsx. If I right-click on this package, I can select Rename and name it to a more appropriate name, like Lesson5.dtsx. I'll hit Enter. Now it's going to ask me a few things. The things it's going to ask me if I want to rename the package object as well. Always say yes to this question. And I'll show you why in a later point. Now on the right pane, you'll see your Solution Explorer. You can hit the push pins right here to lock those windows into place. Matter of fact, you're probably looking at your screen right now that looks similar to this. Your screen may be a little bit different than mine, as I have some third-party programs installed. So right now when I select this file, I'm looking at my file properties. If I select the white area in the background, I'm looking at my package properties. I'll hit the push pin to keep that docked. Over in the toolbox area, you'll see a list of tasks that I can drag over. One of those in particular tasks is a script task. I'll just drag it over just so you can see what it looks like. By dragging the left pane onto the design pane, we can connect these two tasks by dragging more and more tasks over. And I can connect them with these precedence constraints, which we'll talk about in a later module. Each of these tasks has a UI. For example, I can double-click on the script task to see the UI on how to configure it. Notice also the design pane on the right that I'm looking at the script task properties now. If I drag a data flow task over, however, and double-click on it, notice I'm taking over the data flow tab now. This data flow tab is how I can configure the data flow task, and it has sources, transforms, and destinations. Lastly, to execute the package, I have a number of ways of executing it. I can hit the green button up here, which will start debugging, and I recommend that you don't do that. Get in the habit instead of right-clicking on an individual package and selecting Execute Package. This will execute the package in a different mode. So when I hit the green button up here, it will execute the whole project or build the entire solution. So if I have things like reporting services projects inside of that, it will deploy those projects as well and execute the package. So execute the package instead through the Solution Explorer on the right. Now once I execute that, notice the task turned green. Also notice that my toolbox disappears. There's no more task. The only way to get out of that is to hit the stop button. So when I right-click, click Execute, I also get a progress page right here. Now this progress page gives me what the status of each of these tasks are. and whether I succeeded or failed. It will also let me know the bottom line time for the execution of this package. Once I stop the package, the progress page turns to execution results, and that shows me the last execution of this package. Lastly, if you happen to delete a tab, like I did right here, you can hit these icons up here to re-enable those tabs again. I can also bring back the toolbox to the right. Underneath the View option, you have a list of options here, including the output box, and this gives you a textual view of the last execution of the package. It's not as detailed in some cases as the execution results or progress page, so I generally stick with this option right here instead. In this lesson, I showed you the basic exploration of the BIDS environment. We talked about the control flow, where you can go ahead and create a workflow of your package. Also, the data flow is where you configure the data flow task. The execution results, or progress page, shows you the errors that occurred. You can bring back any tab you want through the View option in the BIDS environment, or their corresponding icons. In our next lesson, we'll begin by creating our first package. This package won't do a whole lot, but it will show you the BIDS environment in full.